welcome to another edition of the BaldurNBA NBA preview. This time it's the 11th seeds. At 11 in the East I have the Charlotte Hornets. They finished last season as the 11th seed, with a final record of 33 wins and 49 losses. The Charlotte Hornets have twice been to the first round of the playoffs. Last time in 2014 when they got swept by the Miami Heat. They have never won a playoff game in their team's history. Of course I'm not talking about the original Charlotte Hornets, who made it to the second round in the 90s. That's technically a whole nother franchise. Let's check out the moves the Hornets made this summer. In the draft they got Frank Kaminsky with the 9th pick. Other players they got were Nicholas Batum, Spencer Hawes, Jeremy Lamb, Jeremy Lin and Tyler Hansbrough. Players they lost were Lance Stephenson, Gerald Henderson, Bismack Biyombo, Mo Williams, Noah Vonleh and Jeff Taylor. What stands out is probably Lance Stephenson, that he's gone. That experiment failed horribly. Played so much worse than what he did in Indiana. Let's see how the rotation might possibly look like. In the middle they have Al Jefferson, one of the best post players in the NBA. Dropped in production from the season before, but still had a solid 17 points and 8 rebounds. Along with Al in the front court, they have a lot of players. Cody Zeller, Spencer Hawes, Tyler Hansbrough and Frank Kaminsky. So you could imagine that at least one of those players might get unhappy about their minutes. If things go wrong, they can make trades. At small forward we have Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Good defender but still with a bad shot. He didn't even attempt a 3 last season. He has a new teammate at the 2 spot, Nicholas Batum, better offensive player than Kidd-Gilchrist. And they play the same position, so you wonder if Batum will be the 3 and Kidd-Gilchrist the 2. We'll have to wait and see. Then you have Kemba Walker at the 1. He averaged 17 points per game like he did the previous 2 seasons. Missed out 20 games due to a torn meniscus in his knee. Backup guards will be Jeremy Lamb, who will bring much needed shooting, and Jeremy Lin, who could play alongside Kemba as a playmaker in some lineups. You can see that they're trying to improve their offense by getting more spacing around Al Jefferson. A bit weird that their 2 best shooters might be 7-footers, that is Spencer Hawes and Frank Kaminsky. It could be a mismatch against them if they need to play against teams that are really good at playing small ball. Jeremy Lamb will help them spacing wise and so could Batum. Batum's shooting percentage dropped last season. We'll see if he can have a bounce back season in Charlotte. So, they have tried to improve this off-season. They were the 3rd worst team in team offensive efficiency. Basically the 3rd worst offensive team in the NBA. They should improve this year with the additions they made. To finish things off, the Hornets are an improved team and could make the playoffs and lose in the first round. But I also think other teams in the East have improved. On to the next team. I have the Dallas Mavericks in the 11th seed in the West. They finished last season in the 7th seed with 50 wins and 32 losses. They lost to the Houston Rockets in the first round in 5 games. The Mavs have 1 title under their belts in 2011, back when they beat the Miami Heat, led by Dirk Nowitzki with other players like Jason Kidd, Tyson Chandler, Deshaun Stevenson, Sean Marion and many more. On to the present. Let's see the moves they did this summer. They got Justin Anderson from the NBA draft at 21. Other players they got were Deron Williams, Wesley Matthews, Sasa Pachulia and Javale McGee. Players that left were Rajon Rondo, Tyson Chandler, Richard Jefferson, Monte Ellis, Al-Farouq Aminu, Amari Stoudemire and other less significant departures. I mean, the thing that really headlines the Mavs off-season was not getting DeAndre Jordan, who technically didn't do anything wrong, so I'm not mad at him or hating. Then there was Rajon Rondo leaving, which was no surprise. He never really wanted to play there. He turned Lamar Odom on them. They also lost 2 important players from last season in Monta Ellis and Tyson Chandler. Let's see how the rotation might possibly look like. At center, I could see Sasa Pachulia starting, while being backed up by one of our and Shaq's favorite players,
Javale McGee! Javale McGee again! Javale McGee!
And Samuel Dalembert. It would be more entertaining for us to have Javale starting. Maybe it does, because there's very little shot blocking if Pachulia and Nowitzki are starting together on the court. At least McGee blocks it. But for real though, McGee hasn't been healthy of late. When he's right, he's a nice energy guy and defensive presence with athleticism and shot blocking ability. Played great against the Lakers in the playoffs a few years back. At power forward for the 18th year in a row, the 37-year-old Dirk Nowitzki, still doing his thing. But the Mavs can't rely on him like they used to, obviously. At small forward there's Chandler Parsons. Been some serious questions about his knee, that the problems he had with it are more serious than anticipated. At point guard there's Deron Williams. Just nothing that excites me about Deron now. Like he's kind of half-stepping. Chris Webber said it well once on open court. He's always been a hamburger away. That he could be in better shape. We'll see if he gets motivated by playing home in Dallas. Paul Pierce talked about Deron Williams after he played with him in Brooklyn. He said, "Before I got there, I looked at Deron as an MVP candidate. But I felt once we got there, that's not what he wanted to be. He just didn't want that." By Deron's side, they have Wesley Matthews, who hopes to be ready on opening night. But realistically, that's a long shot, so he'll likely miss some games. To me, he has been one of the most underrated shooting guards in the league. Before he tore his Achilles, very good defender and a prolific three-point shooter. When he went down with the Achilles tear, he was leading the NBA in three-pointers made. You never know how quickly he'll recover from that tear. Those injuries are no joke. One thing interesting about Wesley's new contract that he signed with the Mavs. The original contract he signed for was for 4 years and $57 million. But when DeAndre didn't come, there was a clause that the money DeAndre was supposed to get would be split between the other players. Meaning that Matthews got a $13 million raise by DeAndre not signing. So his contract now is worth $70 million, not $57. $18 million a year. That's a lot of money for a guy who just tore his Achilles a few months earlier. So to finish things off, if the Mavs are motivated and healthy, especially Parsons, Matthews and Williams, the Mavs have a very good chance of making the playoffs. But they won't pass the first round, because the West is freaking stacked. That's it for now. Like, subscribe and peace.